गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गणेश शॉट. गणेश शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है. I hope you're having a nice Sunday morning. And we're going to talk of the emerging Pakistan. Like, Vasu says, is it emerging or dying Pakistan? That's not the issue. What's the Pakistan which is going to emerge post Sindhu? And we have to understand that because there's a euphoria in Pakistan of victory. And you can see the victory in this slide of mine. This is the kind of victory which Pakistan is gloating all about, but we'll get to that. But first and foremost, let me talk of a bit about what the CDS said yesterday in Singapore. He said it to Bloomberg and Reuters, and it has caught everyone's attention. What did he say? He said, "Yeah, we've lost one odd aircraft was down, but we realized what are the problems, and next day we were up, and all were on up. That's it. So maximum probably would have lost one odd aircraft. That's okay in a war. That's part of the thing. And then you have to see the full video of what he said. And he said how we went and decimated Pakistan. And that's the interesting thing, which I want to dwell on. Just think for the sake of thinking. You have taken out 9 terrorist camps, known terrorist camps. You have hit numerous military installations and taken out complete air defense of Pakistan, including the Chinese and the Turkish defenses. You didn't allow him entry on this side at all. You intercepted his missile systems. You intercepted his rockets. He wanted to hit wherever he wanted, he couldn't. And then you destroyed 11 of his air bases. And probably you shook up his nuclear establishment. Probably. I mean, one doesn't know, but I don't want to talk of it, but then you shook it up. And at the end of the day, you say Pakistan is victorious because they downed one aircraft, which probably was up the next day. If you go literally by what the CDS has said, or one or two aircraft, he said everyone is up, no pilots lost, nothing. So what are we talking of? Just what are we talking of? Right? And what he says is problem is not what the CDS said, it was body language and lack of confidence. That's where our communication is not coming as confident. And I don't think so. I think you should see the entire clip. I've interacted with the CDS. I know him. He's way junior to me, but I know him. He's a calm, cool, collected person. He's not like me, talking big and laughing and mustache and all that. He's a different kind of a person. So many times we feel that a person who doesn't, express himself loudly and ferociously with big mustaches doesn't have confidence. No, he's got that quiet confidence. I've known him for long. So don't mistake that. And Bloomberg has cut that thing off, did a bit of snipping and chopping and put it up. So I think one should see the larger picture, not that 2-minute clip, right? But then look at this also, further. Let me take it further. Did Pakistan win the 71 war because it sank Kukri? We lost Kukri, one destroyer. Did it mean that we lost the war? Okay. Did Pakistan win Kargil just because we lost one MiG-17, MiG-27 and a MiG-21 in Kargil also, and a Mi-17? Did we lose Kargil because of that? Okay. Did Pakistan win Op Sindoor just because it downed one Indian aircraft? So all this is nonsense. I think we need to start looking at the bigger picture. And that is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the bigger picture. So we should look beyond what's happened in Op Sindoor. Op Sindoor has given you a framework of what we have to do. There's a lot of action, lot of equations have changed. There's a new normal. What is this new normal? And that is what we need to understand. This new normal is not between India and Pakistan. This new normal is for India with Pakistan, with China, with USA, with Russia, with the Middle East and the world. And you have to see this, whatever has happened in Op Sindhu, in the larger perspective of our economic development and all that. And we have to see Op Sindhu in the perspective with Pakistan also, in the perspective of the multi-domain war which we have unleashed on Pakistan. It's just not this. In any case, this is a no-brainer that they got whacked. Right? Let's get to that thing. Pakistan says we are ready. Ready for what? I mean, this is it. This is some of the headlines which comes in Dawn a few days back. And if you open Dawn, this is the thing which is coming. We are ready for what? Collapse? Military rule? God knows what. And as per this Form 47 PM, Shahbaz Sharif is called the Form 47 PM. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I didn't know this till today morning. Why? He didn't even win his own seat. This man has not won his own seat. And he says Pakistan is flying high, militarily and economically. Well, this is all the first flush. Look, I'll talk about this, why they deem it as a victory a little later. You have to understand the psychology behind it. Okay? So, you have to understand what's coming out of Pakistan in the framework. That is why today I'm doing this, because I felt we need to do things, and we have to walk across and see what they're talking, what their intelligentsia is talking. We'll get to that. In the meanwhile, this comes out in Reddit. China is trying hard to hide the failure of its technology in the recent India-Pakistan war. Now, Reddit, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Reddit. But I think a lot of discussion issues come up in Reddit. This is what is coming. This is the thing which is trending in Reddit. So one has to be very clear as to what we are talking of overall. Are we talking of just that or more? And in Pakistan also, look at this. This is their cartoon today in Dawn. There's a heat wave on, and the heat wave is no more about Op Sindoor and all that. It's physical. You look at it in the multi-domain scenario which I've said, right? A lot of things are happening. You have to start looking at Pakistan beyond this mirror, beyond this glass of Op Sindoor. You have to look through Op Sindoor, but beyond that. So that is why I said, like I always do, I analyze the enemy first. And Pakistan is our enemy because that Prime Minister, Form 47 Prime Minister, has said Dushman about India. So Pakistan is our enemy. Now let's look at what that enemy is thinking. Unless we know what that fellow is thinking, we will not be able to handle him next. And that is the thing. Look, this is the Indian obsession. This is a slide which I showed to all of you nearly 1 year back. 1 year back. And probably this is ageless. But I'm repeating it again today. What does it say? See what it says. That's important. Struggle with India is existential. So this victory of theirs is an existential victory. It is a victory of their existence. It is not defeating India. Please understand that they've escaped to live another day. That's the way they feel. Not winning repeatedly is not same as losing. They feel they have not lost, so it doesn't matter whether they win or not. Please understand what they take. They prefer to take a calculated risk and lose than do nothing. They can't. Because if that happens, Mr. Field Marshal will go home. He'll go with this Form 47 which he gave to the Prime Minister. It's not worth presiding over a state which gives concessions to India. No one in Pakistan who's in power can give any leeway to India that India has won. So the narrative has to be that Pakistan has won. That is why this cartoon, they've won always. So you're looking at a psychology. I have always said, look at the Pakistani psychology because you have to defeat that psychology. Okay. And victory is the ability to continue fighting. That is what their victory is, that they can fight. This is what you have to understand. Why they're calling it a victory? Because they can fight another day. Okay. Now, what is the macro view? The macro view in Pakistan as of today is that Pakistan has secured a victory. Like I said, victory is the ability to continue fighting for another day. Second thing, the nation has solidified around the army. This is something which I predicted. With every defeat, the army gets stronger. Okay. If I have a problem with Op Sindoor, the military part of it, is this. We might have defeated the Pakistan army and hammered them, hammered their 11 airfields, all that. But the Pakistani nation has solidified around the army. We should not ever forget this. But having said this, let me also tell you, today morning, and I was going for a walk, I was listening to Mohit Pirzada. Mohit Pirzada is a Pakistani who's living in Washington. I think he's a supporter of Imran Khan, or either in Washington or New York. He's reported from there. Well, being a Pakistani, his bias will be towards Pakistan. That's not an issue. But certain things which he told stood out, and he's heard widely. Now, what he says is that, look, the armed janta on the ground know panic. They've experienced panic. The government and this Form 47 Prime Minister can say what he wants. This Field Marshal can say what he wants. But the fact is that the man on the ground feels he's seen bombs falling around him. Now, that Rawalpindi cricket stadium being hit is something devastating for the armed janta. What did we do? Those pictures are now all over the world. There's not a single cricket stadium which is broken in Delhi. And all those Photoshop things and all have come unraveled. No one believes them. So there is a discontent in Pakistan which is today latent. It will come out. It's a matter of time. Okay. So that is there. And then there are people who are questioning, how did you make this fellow in 4 days as field marshal? What has he done? What has he done that you made a field marshal out of it? They're questioning. And then there is saying, why only the army? Why not the Air Force? The army did nothing. It's only the Air Force. If someone should have got, it's only the Air Force. Air Force has got one lollipop, weak lollipop, उसको एक extension दे दिया और ये field marshal बन गए. बाकियों को क्या होगा? So there are rumblings within. Just wait. This will come up. Every war, every war and a revolution has its repercussions. And those repercussions are yet to come in Pakistan. It's going to come. Just wait. I mean, you have to be a bit patient. Now, Pakistan is happy that India-Pakistan hyphenation is back. And to a certain extent, it is, especially with USA. So we have to see how to break this back. I don't think it will take long, but I'll discuss this today evening with Mr. Sri Iyer. Pakistan is very happy. It's in the good books of China and USA both. Now, they've got both superpowers on their side. That's the way they feel. Okay, right. But it has to relook at its nuclear deterrence. And that is a very important article which I read. That's the crux of what I'm going to speak today. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is their own terrorist activities, LET, JUD, AO, all those buffoons, they're completely ignored in all analysis. Even the best of their people who I felt all were a good op-ed writers and who have been writing against terrorism and all these fellows, LET and JUD and all, and their existence, which will be a danger for Pakistan. They've been writing earlier, but now they have not written a single word about them. People in Pakistan have not asked, why did this start? Why did this start? They have not spoken about it at all. This is a case of collective national amnesia. Now, of course, Pakistan feels it's back in the game. It's once more in the thing. it's in a bubble, and that bubble will burst. Okay, but having looked, what's the thinking? We need to look at this bubble, because this bubble is dangerous. It's toxic. So this toxic thing, we will have to unravel. We'll have to see what's there in this toxic bubble. They feel India agreed to the ceasefire after securing a calculated victory. Stronger India has been denied the military edge and diplomatic narrative. Pakistan has demonstrated not just parity but deterrent capability that undermined India's claim of military primacy. So I don't know how they deterred. I mean, these are things which you're thinking. How do you deter how do you deter a force which has, hit you all over the countryside? In 3 days, you did 3 different operations and hit everyone in Pakistan and everywhere in Pakistan. What is the deterrent? And then they feel that they have successfully re-established deterrence, stability, and balance in the region. What balance have they established? Now, okay, now things are coming out. See, the professionals know what has happened, and this narrative will die down. The professionals will take over, and then we'll see. Of course, professional narratives which come out of the Western press is a different thing, and I'll talk of it later. I mean, we have to understand that, because they're worried about this emerging India, but that I'll talk later. Okay, then he says successfully buried the concept of limited war under a nuclear environment. It cannot happen. But that's what exactly opposite has happened. It is a limited war which has happened. If you think it is just you don't have these days, no one declares a war. Even that Russia-Ukraine war is never not declared. It's special military operations. Now, see this. He says United States intervened out of alarm since India's Air Force faced serious attrition and the risk of deeper military degradation. That is why United States, to save India, has called for this ceasefire. Can you think of such delusion? And these are in mainstream papers, mainstream analysis. Okay. And this agreement is not about just ceasing hostilities, but the fact that Marco Rubio said we will do, mediation and talks at a neutral venue means Pakistan has achieved its strategic demand, long-standing demand. And then G7 has been restrained, and they didn't put any blame on Pakistan. And they spoke of de-escalation, dialogue, and all that. And that all this is a diplomatic win for Islamabad. And then India's narrative that it was the aggrieved party reacting to terrorism failed to gain traction. They're very happy. But now that effect is being completely degraded by all our teams which are going all over and speaking. And all our our political teams, our cross-political teams from various political parties who have gone to countries all over the world in a very targeted manner. I mean, there is logic to this. Okay. And it says it overassessed and miscalculated its newfound relevance while eyeing to become a counterweight to China. And they're talking about USA. Again, I'll talk of this because there is a lot of depth in, I wouldn't say deep, this is a deep issue. Evening, I'm going to talk of this emerging India-US relationship and our changing equations and why USA is doing what it is with Pakistan. We have to understand this. And this is something which, to a certain extent, I think we have not thought it through. We have not thought it through when we went in for Op Sindhu. But having said that, let's get ahead. Pakistan's spectacular success in air warfare is largely the result of strategic alliance with China. So China is being accredited. China-Pakistan naval axis is visible. These are their own thinking. And this is something which we have to take note of. The Northern Arabian Sea. Look, the naval thing didn't happen. The naval engagements didn't happen. But will this spur greater naval presence of China and Gwadar and all that? We'll have to think through this. It's not a thing which we can take lightly. So we have to do a focused thinking of India and its changing equations, which I'm going to do today evening. A focused thinking of what China is. You have to assess China. That's the linchpin. Okay. And then we have to see where China-Pakistan relationship is going. And please understand, today's 1st June. This whole thing started only 20 days back. There's going to be more. And we have to go the full distance. I'm interested in doing the long distance. Don't expect small things from me, please. Okay. Then Pakistan and China share security, military, and financial concerns, right? Advancing and reinforcing conventional and strategic relations with China is an essential component of Pakistan's foreign and national security policies. You see, the thing which has come out is in Pakistan is now they consider that China is their bigger helper than USA. Their bias towards China is far more than it is with USA. Right? They have no place to go actually. There's a thing which we have to understand in this. USA will not give them high-tech weapons. No one in the West will give them high-tech weapons. It's only China. How far will China give? Now there will be a thing, oh, they've been given 1 billion for IMF and 40 billion from the World Bank from 26 to 35 and all that. We'll see how it goes. There's a balancing which the West is doing with Pakistan because Chinese influence there will otherwise go beyond a point. Unacceptability. So you have to look all these issues three-dimensionally, 360 degrees, which I'll do. Be rest assured, I'll do either as part of my own analysis or others will do it. Don't worry. Okay. Then the COAS, Field Marshal G, went and addressed at Quetta. Now, for some reason, I wouldn't say some reason, for a very valid reason, this Field Marshal and this chap are going and, this Form 47 PM, Shabash, are doing addresses. They have done 2 back-to-back addresses at Quetta Staff College. Why? They are addressing from Balochistan. That's the thing. But they're doing it from the safety of Pakistan, of Quetta. They're not got out of Quetta. Balochistan is in a piss poor shape. The Baloch Liberation Army has captured a town called Surab. I'll talk of BLA, what's happening in a different podcast. But now, what has the chief gone and told Staff College people at Quetta? You need to know why they're going to Staff College. They're conditioning the future of the Pakistan army. And there are a lot of people from all over the world who go and do Staff College in Pakistan. So those chaps are also being conditioned to understand the Pakistani line of thought. One shouldn't, while Pakistan is what it is, one shouldn't forget that Pakistan has its own weight, right? So that they're exploiting. So what is he said? He says need for a peaceful resolution of the Kashmir dispute. And he's given a warning because Field Marshal Ayyar, he can't say don't do this. He'll give a warning. Ye karunga main. Against India's unlawful and legally untenable hydro-terrorism. So he's doing a new coinage of Indus Waters Treaty is being repositioned as hydro-terrorism. But how will it take root is to be seen. He says, we should have the resolve to defeat any aggression, ability to deal with threats across the entire spectrum conflict. Does he have that at this point of time? I don't think so. I think the hits they've got out of, after Op Sindoor will put them back. Those things will come out. You see, what will happen is now, whatever they've lost, they've lost. They have to make good. So they'll put out RFIs and tenders and all that. That will tell us exactly what all they've lost. Okay. And then he says Pakistan will never be coerced. Victory is the ability to keep fighting. I told you in the beginning, that's it. Inimical designs to distract Pakistan's efforts against the war on terrorism will be comprehensively defeated. What is this war on terrorism they're fighting? Against Balochistan and TTP. BL Baluchistan freedom fighters, I call them freedom fighters, and TTP. And then Pakistan people became a wall of steel for the defense of the motherland under the national leadership. Who's the national leadership? He is the national leadership. All this is talking. And then Indian state, now he's pointed his fingers that India is a terrorist state who's sponsoring terror in Pakistan. So if he says that let's sponsor terror in Pakistan. Why should I bother? And I will tell everyone, I'll do humanitarian ops. You don't have to say terror. Let's do humanitarian operations. That is what USA is doing, no humanitarian corridor. So let's also do humanitarian operations in Afghanistan and all that. And then reinvigorating counter-terrorism drive and express confidence that nations fight against terrorism will be driven to logical conclusion. This is nonsense. In Afghanistan is going to be an important player in this whole story. There's a trilateral meeting between Afghanistan, Pakistan, and China's foreign ministers in Beijing earlier in this month. Pakistan has roped in Wangi, or rather China. What is called, he says, oppose all forms of terrorism, jointly combat terrorist forces of concern to each side. Why? Pakistan has run to China to coerce Afghanistan to put pressure on TTP. Because every day during this Op Sindhu, they were losing people to TTP. Even now, even day before yesterday, I think they lost an officer, right, with about 12 people ambushed. That is being suppressed. And Pakistan has now elevated its diplomatic relations with Afghanistan to an ambassador level. Will something work or come out of it? We'll see. We've analyzed. Yesterday, we did a show with Klaus, which I put it out here, where General KJ Singh and Ambassador Sajan Har spoke of Afghanistan angles and all that. So we'll have to see this, how to handle it. Okay. And I'll come to a little. This is an important thing. This is an important analysis on nuclear deterrence. He says, after 27 years after Chagai, nuclear shadows and doctrinal dilemma. This doctrinal dilemma is being faced by Pakistan. He says, this questions, has our nuclear deterrence work? If it does not work, what do we do ahead? Let me put the cart before the horse. What he says in this, it's a very detailed analysis. Our nuclear deterrence has not worked. That's what he says. But we have no choice. That's the second thing. So you have to up the ante. Third. So we will see how it comes out. Okay. Very important, this. He says Pakistan's conventional capabilities deterred India from provoking an even larger conflict by imposing heavy costs on India. That's a presumption. That's a start point, right? Conventional capabilities didn't stop India because we expanded the conflict, escalated the conflict in a very calculated manner after day one. When Pakistan retaliated militarily, we took day 2, day 3, we did what we had to do. So then, right. It thwarted India's efforts to seek peace for conventional war, to seek space for conventional war under the nuclear war overhang. That's what he feels in this analysis. So the first two things of this analysis is flawed. Okay. We got the space we wanted for conventional war. We didn't go, we were not subconventional, nor were we strategic. India operated in the conventional space. Okay. Now here he starts admitting operations designed to stay below the nuclear threshold, shrinking space in which deterrence operates. Time has come to rethink and update our understanding of deterrence. India has carried out operations below the nuclear threshold, and he says the space in which deterrence can operate has shrunk. So he has to rethink their understanding of deterrence. Though he examines, I mean, in a manner without balance, it comes out in this. And then he comes out with a new thing. He says Pakistan armed forces will follow a quid pro quo plus policy with regards to India. And he says downing of 5 aircraft, multiple aircraft, Rafale, Mirage, MiG-30 jets in the span of less than 1 hour, employing stand-off weapons and air defense weapons, is a signal to its resolve. So Pakistan has a habit of going pro quid quo and more. This is not new. They've done it always. They either first off the block, they're proactive like they were earlier, or they will come back heavily at you for any action. And they'll be indiscriminate about it. That is a historic thing. And this man is reinforcing it. But he's justifying with the downing of 5, 6 aircraft, which never happened. Okay. We are very clear what the CDS has said. Then he says, deterrence, while not broken, was undeniably shaken. So now the admissions coming out get, भाई हमारे पास न्यूक्लियर वेपन तो है, उसके साथ हम कर क्या सकते हैं? We are not able to do anything. उसके साथ रख के आप क्या करोगे? अचार डालोगे? So that's the point. Okay. India's willingness to act and expand geographic scope of its strikes points to a gap in Pakistan's ability to deter India's reckless behavior due to emergence of newer technologies. So newer technologies, if you invest into them, will open this gap up. That's what we have shown. You have better technology, you employ better technology. I mean, I get back to one thing. Better technology is not the latest technology. The better technology is the technology which wins you a war. The technology which you can apply on ground and expand the scope of war. Pakistan's shield is holding, though it may be fraying at the edges. This is a literal admission that their deterrence, nuclear deterrence, has failed. This is being quoted by many people. And we have to understand what make it fail. It's not political resolve. One is political resolve, yeah. Second is the way we went about doing our operations. And third, technology opened it up. Our ability to put on technology. And the way we went about doing our non-contact thing, threatening things on ground. The ground threat came in LOC when we hammered them. Understand the nuances, and then you know how they've been hit. You look beyond this. Then he says now India believes it can operate in the gray zone. So they are now very well mentally prepared that we are going to go into the gray zone. Below nuclear threshold, using limited, precise force to impose costs without triggering an all-out war. They're worried. Wait, देखो, ये narrative तो ठीक है यार, छोड़ो. Narratives can keep going on. What CD has said, what that asshole said, it doesn't matter me much. But what I'm interested in is this hard thinking. Hardcore thinking is what we should be doing. And they're saying, he says India will use this precise force to impose costs without triggering an all-out war. Surgical strikes. So we will do what is surgical to us, or what we deem to be surgical. Right. Then he says India's leaders appear to be beholden to the idea that they can hit Pakistan without provoking an uncontrolled escalation. They're worried. Very worried. Let me tell you this. They're worried, yeah, mere paas to hai, I have nuclear weapons. Why this fellow is still hitting me all over? What do I do? Do I start going nuclear? He says from Uri to Balakot and now Pahalgam, the visible trend is that each strike is a calculated test of Pakistani resolve and each one pushes the boundaries a little further. It has. So the next one, we should see what is the boundary you have to expand. And how do you expand it? How do you expand it? Okay, when you catch a trout in a hill stream, you let the trout go and then pull him in. Let him go, pull him in. Let him go, pull him in. That's what we have to do with Pakistan. And I'll talk of it one of these days. You cannot defeat Pakistan militarily. You have to defeat it politically with a military overhang. You have to do a battle of attrition with Pakistan. And that is what we have done for the past 75 years. This is going to be a battle of attrition, and we should be prepared for it, and we are winning it. Let me also tell you that we are winning it, and we are winning it hands down. And this is something which they also understand. But, well, they can't get out of it. Okay. All this is there. You guys, at your own time, you want to read it. I have no problem. But I'll highlight. He says 3 incidents in 9 years show Pakistanis plus isn't scaring India enough. You can have a pro quid quo policy. But he's now saying, look, we've done all this, but it's not scaring India. India is not bothered. They're doing what they want to do. So Pakistan faces a stark choice. Continue pursuing a doctrine that punishes India. So how do they punish India? After the incident, or forgo one that stops India cold, or forge one that stops India cold. So what is this new doctrine which they're going to have, which they're going to forge, which will not allow us to think, to look at Pakistan? What is that? They have a stark choice. I agree with you. I agree with him. Because their alliance with China has not worked. They have become a battleground state. That's the most important thing which is going to affect Pakistan now. USA has now leapt into the battleground. And they want to put China's influence down. Look, you have to understand how much was China's commitment into Pakistan? $60 billion, isn't it? Through CPEC. Actually, they did only 20 odd billion in over 10, 12 years. And they have not got anything great out of it. Now the World Bank says we'll put $40 billion into Pakistan. That $40 billion will go back to World Bank. Let me tell you, or America. It will not, and the Pakistani generals will become rich. But as a result of which, it will clear the pitch for China. So Pakistan will be caught between the two. That gives you space. Okay, anyway, he says need to strengthen our conventional arsenal, including modern fighter jets, precision ammunition, and all that. But it costs money, bhaiya. Kahan se aayega? Will China be able to afford Pakistan? When I talk of China, you'll realize China is struggling. China has its own problems. Okay, then of course ambiguity, cyber, all that. To raise India's costs without nuclear risk should be embraced. One blind spot in this entire analysis is that he's forgotten India is a nuclear state. The blind spots in the Pakistan thinking is certain things about India they've forgotten. Whatever they can do, we can match. Then he says nuclear bomb remains the ultimate guarantor of Pakistan's sovereignty and territorial integrity. But every knife-edge attack or missile drone attack cannot be stopped. He's agreed that he cannot stop it. Nukes can only promise that if the worst comes, both sides will pay an unthinkable price. Oh, sab take hai. Each Indian operation is designed to normalize limited raids in the eyes of the world. So this is the new normal, he says, is India will keep doing raids on us. What do we do? If this continues and strikes on the mainland are repeated, it would increase the risk of a misstep towards nuclear catastrophes as each crisis raises the stakes. Let it raise the stakes. So tomorrow if you put something in Pakistan, they'll go nuclear. It's very difficult. So He's actually opened up the space. He's shown the nuclear dilemma of Pakistan. India's playbook is clear. Modern technology, drones, standoff missiles to inflict pain while staying below the nuclear tripwires. So Pakistan has to do a lot of rethink. But let's not underestimate this. We shouldn't underestimate it. They are in trouble, so be it. We'll take on later on. Then talk of IWT, which I think is a Brahmastra. Look, before I go into IWT, I would like to clarify. There are articles which are coming out that China will do to India what India will do to Pakistan. China can do nothing. Let me assure you, China can do nothing. And why China can do nothing is Brahmaputra will never go dry. In lean season, there will be a little less water. And right, if Brahmaputra dam is being built, we can handle it with a mirror dam, which I spoke of. I did a full video on that. You have to have 1 or 2 or 3 mirror dams, and you can control the water. One. Number two, Chinese are not fools. They're not going to build a dam in a hurry, and that dam can't hold all water. It's more runoff. They will divert some water, but that's not going to affect you too much. What they did in Satluj, I think that's gone long back, Parachu. So China can do very little to us. Okay. And if they don't share hydrological data with India, so be it. Because the rise in Sangpo River doesn't come from upper reaches. It comes from, Rohing, Anini, Jelling, that areas, Gelling, those beds, because that's where the monsoon hits. So this thinking that, IWT ke jawab China dega hame is stupid. Okay. It's absolutely stupid. If China does some stuff like this, I think then we'll have to start looking at the Tibet issue very seriously. Okay. Very seriously, we have to start looking at the Tibet issue. But that I will talk of another day, right? Because there are many, but things with us. Okay. Now this business of IWT. Okay, let me get the slide up. Yeah, this business of IWT, whatever is written in this slide, Shahbaz Sharif has spoken, I think in Azerbaijan or somewhere in a conference. He's gone and said suspension of IWT is a red line for Pakistan. Pakistan will not allow India to cross the red line. How will it not allow? We have already crossed the red line. Kya karega wo? Then his vulnerability, and this is what you got to understand. They're very, very worried now. Even the Pakistani army is worried, and they are all, everyone is worried. It's up to us now. Pakistan, with over 13,000 glaciers, was among the countries most vulnerable to climate change. These glaciers contribute nearly half of the annual flows in the Indus River system. It sustains Pakistan's civilization, culture, and economy. Pakistan doesn't have a civilization; it has got a culture, and an economy which is vanishing. So you have to understand the implication of what this is meant for Pakistan. And if you go into the Pakistan floods, earthquakes, lack of water, dry season, and all that, they have a major problem. You don't have to, again I repeat, you don't have to close the water of Indus. You just have to tamper with it. Okay. And that tampering you can do within the clauses of the Indus Water Treaty existing. If you do that, I explained this again and again. I'm telling you in a full, video just 3 days, 4 days back. Please look at it. You are still within the Indus Water Treaty, and Pakistan will suffer. Now he comes out. He says India's plans for Chenab are a matter of deep concern for Pakistan. This is the crux I keep repeating. Chenab, Chenab, Chenab. It's not Ravi or Satluj. Those we have anyway damned. What little you can siphon off. You can't stop Jhelum. You can't stop Jhelum. Though many people in India are talking of Jhelum, you can't stop Jhelum. Let me tell you this. You can't stop Indus. Both these are out of your hand. The 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 river which is now they're worried about is Chenab. And they are now telling me what I've said, now they are echoing. Please understand what this whole story. He says India started plans in 2016 to develop capacity to weaponize water. This is being done by building capacity purely for storage to withhold water. These projects on the Chenab are not designed as hydroelectric projects, but as military structures to use water as a weapon. They're going to go to town to internationalize this. So be it. Be prepared for it. And in my presentation and my video on Indus Waters Treaty and all that, I have highlighted how many dams we have built and how many are in the process, all that. Mind you, all these were built and planned uh, under the stipulations of the Indus Water Treaty. We have not violated the Indus Water Treaty so far. We're going by it. We're still within that. Okay. Now we can do what we want. The worrying thing which we need to focus on is this Bitcoin. They've gone in for a Bitcoin strategic reserve. They've announced it 2 days back. Okay. And this announcement had come because in front of Vice President Vance, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr. at the Bitcoin Vegas 2025 in Las Vegas last week. This enables them to fund terror through crypto. So how do we tackle this is a issue. I'll be very honest, I am not too much into this. So I'll get someone to talk to all of you about this new development. How do we handle it? The worrying thing is the vice president was sitting there when this fellow did this. I keep saying the center of power is the army, and the center of governance in Pakistan is the state. The wars have destroyed the state. Including this, it will destroy the state, but it has strengthened the army. This is the dichotomy which we have to face. The center of power has never been destroyed. It is only destroyed or it only shaken up. Okay, when you use a political thing, it can be only destroyed politically. Any amount of war with Pakistan, including a nuclear war, will not destroy this. So what do? You pursue this politically. So what is this politically? You'll ask me. We'll come to that. If I do a summation of what I've spoken to you so far, it is this. Now, Indian sponsored Quaritch. Quaritch is the term they use for TTP, Pakistan. So, India has sponsoring TTP. So, Indian sponsored Quaritch. This will be now mainstreamed. That's what they do. And they will be conflating this with the Baluch problem. They already started doing that. And Baluch problem is being termed as Fitna ul Hindustan. So this is something which we have to handle. Should we go in for deniability? I don't think so. Should we go in for humanitarian assistance? I think so. It's trying to take the humanitarian approach. Musharraf used to say, we are helping the Kashmiris out. We are giving them moral support and political support. Let's give both these people that. Time to start this. Pro quid quo plus will be their operating principle. Next war, next conflict, next round, whenever it happens, you have to understand this. Enhanced collusivity with China, while it seeks indulgence with the West, will be a feature going forward. Let's not have doubts about this. Also, the West will be complicit in Pakistan's delinquent behavior. You've seen this now. It's not going to change. The West, for its own reason, does not want India to become another China out of their grasp. So they want to keep us in check. We have to break this thinking. And I'll talk of it in the evening. This is why I said India is changing equations. You have to do an honest assessment of what we are. The West is not your friend. Whatever equation you have with the West is tactical in nature. And there's a new battleground emerging. Pakistan is a battleground between China and America. I'll talk of this some other day. We must look out for new forms of terrorism, grey zone operations, and hybrid operations from Pakistan. Remember, this is something which we must never forget. Pakistan is an inventive state. Okay? Inventiveness is part of their existence. They have to invent something to exist. That military state, if it has to survive, they will use this in new forms. What is this new forms? Is it in the sea? They do something like this, or they will attack in Bangladesh, or will it come to Nepal? We'll have to see. What is the new form? Because they now know that operating the old way might not work. Be prepared. Pakistan is going to spend more on conventional and nuclear weapon systems. They'll find the money for it. That old story of Bhutto, I'll eat grass, but I'll have this. This is going to be there. They want to retain parity with us. But when they do all this, it's going to have collateral effects on their society. And that collateral effect will be economic in nature, it will be socio-cultural in nature. That is what we have to navigate. I've always maintained there are three fronts for Pakistan. The first front is the Western Front, Afghanistan. The second is the Eastern Front. And the third and the most vulnerable front is the CPEC. It will induct more tactical nuclear weapons to create more instability by design. And that they'll hope will reduce the space for conventional war or non-contact war. That has got different implications altogether, which I will cover one of these days in a thing as to how to handle tactical nuclear weapons, which Pakistan will now go in for. Because they'll enhance their missile program, all that will be there. Pakistan will internationalize the Indus Waters Treaty. And they'll highlight or amplify this coinage of hydroterrorism. We should be politically clear how to handle this new menace. How to handle this whole story, we should be very clear. How to ensure that we handle the Indus Water Treaty the way we want will be the acid test of our diplomacy going forth. Not only diplomacy, but many things. Okay. And China will be there. They'll amplify all these actions. Pakistan, even New York Times has come out with this. He says India's Pakistan air battle is over. Their water war has begun. So everyone knows that it's going to happen. How we navigate this and how we hold all the aces. Like I said, you don't have to go back into the treaty. You don't have to abrogate the treaty. You don't have to violate the treaty. You just do what you're supposed to do as per the treaty. Still, so the four terminal weaknesses which Pakistan has, because look, this is a multi-domain war. Op Sindoor is not over. The military part of it is subdued, gone to the backstage. Now you have to look at the economy, target it. There is still a lot of things which you can do. IWT, Balochistan, and TTP, and various other things, diplomacy, right? So this is all I thought. Let me explain to you and put things across. I do hope you all have liked this talk of mine, and if you liked it, please do press a thumbs up button and also subscribe to Gunner Shot. I'll be having this solos in the morning whenever I have the time, and each interesting topic. Uh, Evenings I'll have with others. Okay, right. Thanks a lot, Jinka Mamu. Very happy with what you've done. So you read CAP's Air Power Studies article by Colonel Butt, which has revelations about Pakistan's bunker in Pindi and Murad. Appreciate your analysis. Look, I'll do it some other day. Right, I'll go and put it one other day. Thanks a lot, Narendra Rahane, and thanks a lot, Govind, for becoming members. Let me take a few. Right. Uh, yeah. Analyzing about our strengths and weaknesses makes us improve ourselves great. So yeah, we need to be honest with what we are doing. Okay, we need to be very honest with what we are doing. Right. I'm glad a lot of you are, let me see, take some questions. Like it sudden. Wow, General Shankar, there's so many Fu Manchu fans genuinely jealous of your magnificent mustaches. Keep up. Yeah, they don't understand. उनको तो they Fu Manchu chaps को तो उगता भी नहीं है. वो मेरे ख्याल में नीचे भी नहीं उगता उनका. Every drop of credit and mileage will be sucked out by your PM and the BJP to the point they will end. Yeah, we'll see that. That we'll talk later. Okay. It will be foolish of Pak and West to blame Bharat for internal turmoil in Pakistan. If they do so, then in a convoluted manner, are they putting Bharat at par with USA? Would USA accept this? I don't think all this will happen. There's a devil within Pakistan, and that devil will consume Pakistan. And the biggest of that devil is water. Look, I've already always maintained water is their biggest werewolf, and radicalism survives on that. So you just have to leave Pakistan. You put pressure on Pakistan, it'll go down the chute. Sir, stop thinking Bitcoin as a terror tool. It's already a legitimate option to US dollar. Most hedge funds have started accumulating Bitcoin. Pakistan smarter here. We are stuck with no clue. I agree with you. That's why I said I'm not too clued into this. I have to learn about it. Right. As you have mentioned, the IWT Brahmastra has physical and political limits, but still it is a Brahmastra now. It is. Don't worry. It has a lot of things. There's a lot of leeway let to go. Don't worry. Look, there's a lot of talk about what the Sridia spoke and didn't spoke. Let me tell you, what he spoke was very straight. He's let the gin out of the bottle. No more you can say, you can keep cursing him or not, it doesn't matter. He said one more aircraft has gone, end of it, but it has all gone back up. And like I said, you have to go through the whole thing. But now the focus will turn to what's happened to Pakistan. This narrative is over. It will go for another 3 days. Then what? Hardcore analysis like what I'm doing will come forward. Okay. So, good morning, sir. Wonderful analysis. Really disappointed in our netizens that the way they are blaming the CTS. We are so drunk on Paki propaganda. We can't. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you have to have a balanced idea as to what you have to do. I mean, we shouldn't unnecessarily. Yeah, China is responding to Sindoor with a decision to upgrade Pakistan's nuclear arsenal by proliferating new technology. How should we respond to this to inflict cost on China? Will we let it go? No, we can't. We can't, Manuswan. We have to do something. And I'm sure we are doing something. All this I can't talk in the open thing anyway. Yeah, what do you think of what Hexat said at Shangri-La Dialogues? He seems to have all sorts of expectations from India. Yeah, they have. That's the dichotomy and the double speak which is coming out of. Which is a good question actually, which is coming out of USA, and I'll talk of it in the evening because one establishment is speaking a different tone for Pakistan. Another part of the American establishment still seeks India to contain China. We have to have a very honest talk with USA. Where do we stand? Trump seems to be on one wicket, Hexet and Rubio on another wicket. So we'll have to see what it is. Yeah. How can we push the envelope in the naval sector while still staying below the red line? And that is surgical strikes on its oil tankers. You don't have to do surgical strikes on its oil tankers. You just have to go and position yourself there. And just tell them, look, there's going to be a war around. Better you don't come around. Don't no, you don't have to barricade them, naval blockade, and all. You don't have to do. Just go say, yeah, there's something happening. You come here, you'll get hit. So better don't come. Okay, and that's the end of the story. You put this block for about 2 weeks in some manner, and Pakistan is finished. I don't see great merit in analyzing a Paki article whose fundamental premise is based on falsehood. What meaningful insight can we deduce from this? Sunita, let me tell you one thing. The biggest mistake you'll do is not reading what a fool writes. Because that's the way his mind functions. You have to understand how he thinks. This is not analyzing for the sake of what he's going to do and not do. This is to analyze. This is a psych game, mental game. And he will build his capabilities as per this. And you have to respond to his capabilities of this thing. Okay, in case you have a better thing, you do say. And war or geopolitics is a two-sided and a multi-sided game. You can't just be one-sided game, main karunga, jo karunga. That is the biggest foolishness we can do. So you have to look everything. And in war, the first thing you do is discuss the enemy, good, bad, or ugly. I hope I made you clear about it. If you not understood it, all the best. Why can't India go for containerized missile system? It's a force multipliers. We can hit China's eastern bases, which are heavily militarized compared to yeah, all this we can do. These are normal things. We've done it also. Yeah, while we are all in India and support our army, the most vocal person advocating war, Jaipur dialogues, ran away from India as hostile. I don't think you should get into these things. Don't worry. Yeah, India should make a balance in defense procurement and infrastructure development nowadays. Our country is focused on infrastructure development, not in defense. I think so. You're right. Right. The average Pakistani believes that terrorism is a legitimate part of their political military doctrine. I agree with you. That's their normal thinking. So it's time to repay them back with their own coin, isn't it? When you were Lieutenant General of Army, did you fall at a Swamiji's feet? No, I didn't. I understand what you're talking, but For me, religion was different from my thing. My religion was the religion of my troops. I'm a South Indian Brahmin. I lived my entire life with Rajputs. So I started believing in Karni Mata, which is the reigning deity of my troops. Period. How would you devise an escalation denial strategy like deny Pakistan the use of the nuclear word? Technology. Today, the availability is technology. Ability to calibrate your non-contact warfare, your non-contact capabilities. Non-contact capabilities comes from drones, it comes from electronic warfare, it comes from uh, narratives, it comes from which we have to improve. I keep saying, if there was one failure in Op Sindoor, it is our narrative ability or information operations were poor. I have no doubt about it, and I'll tell everyone. Right, we need to improve on that. Our strategic communication has to improve. Okay, and then hybrid war, gray zone, a lot of things. Yeah, I want your opinion on certain issues. Please enlighten us, sir. I have not seen what those issues are. Uh, yeah. So this Pakistani talk of re-examining deterrence is concerning. They already talk of first use tactical weapons and saber. That's okay. You have to live with it. You have to understand it. He's there. He's got his problems. He's got his doctrine. You have to see through it and burn him through. That's it. Yeah, I write defense articles to one of the US website. In my article, I have discussed about the threat of unguided ballistic missiles to a carrier strike. Yeah, there's a problem. All these are normal things. Anyway, don't worry. Cartoon Network, I agree with you. The leadership of Reddit is left supporters, and their platform is also left wing. It doesn't matter, but that thing came, that discussion happened. Whether it's left, right, I couldn't care a damn. It's come, no. That's why I just thought I'll show you. That's it. General Manekshaw became Field Marshal 2 years after 71 war. Karyappa became Field Marshal 3 decades after his retirement. In 4 days, Field Marshal nowhere. It happened. Yeah, that's okay. That's how Pakistan is. That's how Pakistan is. Mm. Jai Subramaniam Iyer and Shweta also namaste. I know what kind of idiot wrote that article. I know what that's okay. That's part of the story. Yeah. Okay. I think I've covered most of the questions which have come up. We've crossed this thing. Uh, 1, 2, 3. Balochistan will be free. I also hope so. Wish you all the best. Uh, the media narrative has been hijacked by Western left-leaning cabal for too long. Some resistance and now an alternate gaze is emerging in the Bharatiya news space. Long road ahead. Yeah, that's okay. That's part of the story. Right. Not a problem. So, what is the risk of India being used as a prop by either USA or China in their mutual struggle? Zero. Zero. What can India do to convince world polity that a multipolar world is more stable and safe? We don't have to. They already know it. They're very clear about that. Okay, don't worry about it. Uh, Rishabh Patel, thanks a lot, sir. How are they going to work 2GW power? It takes time, and after all, it's as large as powering up a large city like. See, Pakistan talks all nonsense, so don't get too worried about it. You have to track Pakistan. That's why I said you have to understand what he's writing and see the gaps and do what you have to do. Don't unnecessarily. One of the first things is don't react to Pakistan. Act. That's a thing. Yeah. Absolute truth prevails. I agree with you. Truth shall come out. Haha. It will. It does. So don't worry. I have full faith in it. Right. Uh, does Modi ji have the mindset to free Tibet and take on China? At this point of time, I don't think anyone in India has. When I say anyone in India, in the political setup and in the military setup. But my view is it's going to change. So, what we'll do, Mahesh, we will examine this. We'll examine Tibet and how things are going to happen. I'll do it within this month. Within June, I'll do it. Okay. Right. Uh, I think we've done the whole story today. What all I have set out to talk of. Uh, Immediately after this, I'm going to do a discussion with Mr. John Helmer. Now, John Helmer is a naturalized Russian, right? And he writes a lot about Russia-Ukraine war. He's a good friend of mine. And we're going to talk of escalatory dynamics as we exercised in India, between India and Pakistan, and how we did it. And he feels Mr. Modi has done it better than most in the world. And the escalation control was with us in India, and we did it. And how Russia has not been able to do it. It's going to be an interesting discussion. I'm going to have it immediately after this. I'm going to record it and I'll upload that video maybe in the afternoon. Have a look at it. And in the evening, I'm going to talk with Ms. Sri Iyer on India and its changing equations. We need to change, and we're going to talk of it in the evening. Okay. Till then, thank you. Morning. Have a great Sunday, and things will go on. I'm not off Sindur. I'm still thinking of Sindur, right? Most of my videos will be on that score. Thank you. Morning and Jai Hind to all of you.